if you actually want to sell your house fast, you want to net the most amount of money, you want to get as much traction to your property as possible, I want you to watch this video to the very end, because this is coming from an agent that prospects every single day. And there's always these common mistakes that sellers make until why they end up on an expire list, why they end up canceled, why they don't end up sold, right? And sellers are not aware that this is the reason why they can't maximize profit, right? And I'm going to be sharing with you these valuable insights. This is the reason why I sold 6 listings last month at and above asking price. Just got a multiple offer situation on one of my new listings on Tyler Street, 1524 Tyler Street, right? And the list goes on and on and on, right? Guess you all know who I am. My name's Cody, one of the top producing agents here in Arkansas with eXp Realty. In this video, I'm going to be telling you how you can maximize your profits when it comes to selling, right? Guys, be sure to check out all of my descriptions. Listen, if you're a seller and you want to implement these strategies that I'm going to be telling you in this video, be sure to click that Zoom link down in the description below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, share the video if you want more valuable content just like this. Number 1, price. Always comes with price, right? If you don't get this one strategy at least down, at least the one time, right? This can either make or break you. This can either shoot you in the foot or this can skyrocket your profits, right? Let me explain. A lot of sellers have this misconception of, I think my house is worth this amount of money, right? They always think that, hey, I put 10 grand into this property. I put this amount of money into this property. I should be able to get X amount of money, right? At this property, right? I always tell my clients this. If the first 2 to 3 weeks of you being on the market, if you're not getting any buyers or any activities whatsoever, the market is telling you overpriced. No amount of marketing, no amount of strategy, no amount of anything will sell an overpriced listing. Listen, it doesn't matter how much you painted the walls. It doesn't matter what personal decorations you put into the property, thinking that it'll be worth more if I put this into the property, right? That does not determine what the market determines for your house, right? So an agent, you can tell an agent, hey, I want this amount of money for my property, right? And that agent can tell you, okay, you can get that because you put this amount of money in the property, right? I don't go based off that. I go based off what the market is going to tell you. Based on what the market is going to tell you what you can get out of your property. Listen, I'm in the business of selling listings. I'm not in the business of taking listings, right? And I'm very strong about this point, right? Because this, again, is what pisses sellers off. This is the reason why some sellers don't sell. This is why the reason why they end up on expired list, right? Sellers want demand for their property. How do you create demand? You want to see what your competition is doing, right? You want to see what the comps are like, right? Whatever your property is comparable at, that's just what's going to sell at. But again, what you see that's comparable, also have to pay attention to your competition. How long have they been on the market, right? You want to think of what a buyer is going to think, right? We're going to get to that later into this video. If a buyer is in a certain price range, right, and you're selling at a certain price, and your competition is also at a certain price, right, why should that buyer choose your property, right? Why should they choose your property over the property across the street that's selling about $5,000 to $10,000 less than what you're competing against, right? And you're probably going to say, oh, because I put this amount of money into the property, right? The market doesn't determine that. The market determines what is comparable at and what the buyer is willing to demand the most amount of money, right? Now, how do you create a multiple offer situation, right? You want to go based off what the comps are in the market, and you want to price it about 5 to 10 grand less. You want to go below what your competition is because you want to create the most demand so you can get a lot of people walking through your property, and you want to drive the price up to get 3 to 5%, maybe even 10% more than what you're asking, right? This is the same exact strategy I use every single time with my sellers to get at and above asking, right? Now listen, again, if you are a seller, you want to implement these strategies, you're an aggressive listing agent, that's going to help you get the most amount of money. Again, click that link in the description. Number two, clean your damn house. Clean your house. And what I mean by clean your house, I mean clean the outside of your house. You know, the clutter the gutters, right? Power wash your house. Your presentation really matters the most, right? Especially if you want to demand the most amount of money, right? If a buyer if a buyer walks past your house and it's shitty, it's trashy, they do not care what the inside looks like. The inside can be perfect, but if the exterior is terrible, you didn't clean the property outside, you didn't take care of it. They can say screw what the inside would look like, right? At this point, you'll be attracting an investment market. Now, this doesn't mean this is all the time, right? Don't let this point scare you. It's just if you want to create demand, everything has to be on point. From the exterior, from the pictures, from the interiors, from the price. It all has to be presentable, right? Now, this next point, I might as well just add this one to it. I don't want to count this as the next point because it's literally the same thing. Curb appeal. Make sure the plants will look good, right? Make sure the grass is cut. Make sure the yard, if you want to go further, you want to rake the yards, right? Do everything you can to make the property as presentable as possible, right? I'm gonna count this as point number three. We're at point number three now, right? You want to think as a buyer. Think as a buyer, right? This is crucial when you do list a property to think as a buyer, right? I did mention this earlier. Now, what do you mean by thinking as a buyer, right? I'm a seller. I don't need to think what a buyer thinks, right? Yes, you do. It's more important than thinking as a seller. Because again, the same concept goes back. As a buyer, let's say these two houses right here, right? Let's say these two houses. At this house, it's listed at 250. And this house is listed at 230. Which one are you going to go see first? Let's say you got approved for $300,000, right? You're looking at houses below what you're approved for. And here's the thing. Here's a tip I want to add to this. When you're approved for a certain price, you're not going to look for anything above what you're approved for, right? You're going to look for things that you're below, right? This is what I explain to my sellers. Now, which house do you think you're going to look at if once you're approved for $300,000? You're obviously going to go look at this one first, right? Because it's a little bit cheaper. You're right next to it. Then you're going to go look at this one last, right? Now, what does this mean? Why is this so important? Because if you put yourself in the number one position, right? If you put yourself in a better position than this house right here, you're more likely to get this buyer first. You're more likely to get that buyer first. Now, let me say it again. If you put yourself in the number one position for this house, you're getting the showing first. And when you get the showing, that is leverage to negotiate any objections that buyer has before they decide to go over here and put an offer on this. Does that make sense? So you want to leverage how a buyer is going to think. Super important. Now, next point. Do not chase the market. This is the same thing as number one. You always want to price to sell, but do not chase the market, right? What I mean by do not chase the market. It means that I'm okay with starting high. I'm okay with seeing what can you get, right? What can you get? But you have to understand that 3 weeks go by. If you're not getting no showings, no offers, no activity, you have to adjust. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. I did mention this earlier. You, no amount of marketing, no amount of strategy, no amount of anything will sell an overpriced listing. And guys, I promise you that. Nothing will. And if somebody does come to a house that's overpriced, you're not going to get list price. I promise you, you're not. Because your house will be on the market for so long. The more days on market, the less that buyer sees value in your home. So you have to adjust every single time, right? I'm going to keep preaching this because I'm so passionate about this, because this is the mistake sellers realize too late, and this is why they expire. This is why they can't take their home off the market. This is why they think the market is bad, because they're not educated well on this. So, what I mean by not chasing the market, you want to adapt as quickly as you can. If you're not getting no activity at a certain price, adapt. You have to look at your competition. What are they doing? What are they doing, right? What are these two people doing? How can I get in front of these two people? It's all a game at the end of the day, right? This next point is I think this is going to be my last point. Um, do not be there for showings. What I mean by do not be there for showings, right? Whenever you have a buyer, you're going to walk through your house. The last thing you want to do is be at that showing, right? Now, this is kind of a rare scenario, but I have had clients who say, "Oh, do we have to be there?" No, do not be at the showing. Now, I'm gonna tell you why. You're not going to get the buyer's truth. You're not going to get the buyer's buy-in. And what I mean by buy-in, they're not going to open everything because they see that you are there. It's already going to be an awkward situation, right? Because you're a stranger walking through a stranger's house. You're opening all this stuff, right? You're not going to get the real's opinion. And here's the thing: you want to get the buyer's true opinion about your house, because that is the opportunity to negotiate any objections, right? But if you are there, it's going to make it way more difficult. It's going to make it way more awkward. And it's just a rough time for everybody. So this one's just straightforward to the point. Keeping it simple. Do not be there for showings. Please leave your house. So, please leave your house when somebody wants to see it, right? Now, that is my tips to maximize your entire profit when you sell your home. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, share this content. If you're a seller looking to make a move this spring, this summer, and you want to net the most amount of money, you want an aggressive agent right behind you to implement these strategies for you, click that link in the description. Book a free Zoom call with me. Book a free strategy call with me. And let's go over what your motivation is, what the problem is. If there's a problem that needs to be solved, do the sell your home and get you to the closing table, click that link. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want more kind of like raw content just like this. And I want to see who made it to the end of this video. So if you made it this far to the end of this video, comment home in the comment section. I want to see who makes it this far. And ultimately, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get it.